What's going on, folks? Bass-TEC fans, or should I say now, e-Propulsion TEC fans. I hope everybody is doing great. We have had an amazing event last Saturday. I'll kind of give us a few minutes while everybody's logging on. If you don't mind, leave us some comments in here. Let us know how the feed's looking, if it's distorted, if it looks good. So that way, any pros, negatives, I don't want to get going in this thing. And if folks are not able to hear us and see us well enough, I'd like to just kind of make sure, give everybody kind of a brief moment to log on and let us know how everything looks. What's going on, John Long? How's the head? Yeah, so for those that do not know, not taking the highlight away from Taylor and Dusty, give a couple minutes, let everybody get on here. I actually did take a pretty nasty fall. I believe Blake could attest to it as far as I took a pretty good fall to the noggin while we was out on his boat doing some filming footage. So I'm doing good, though. I didn't go get checked out or nothing. My wife was pretty upset at me, but it's all good. Jeff Reese, appreciate it. Looks and sounds good. All righty, so we'll go ahead and get this show going. And the first thing that I want to do, let me get over here and make sure I can add this in here on this. The number one thing that I'd like to do is give a big thank you. And folks that probably don't see it as much because you're out there fishing on the water and your eyes are focused to wanting to fish or watch those guys coming in the scales and seeing what weights they got. But folks, I'm going to tell you the appreciation that all of us anglers have for the partnership with Decked Out John Boats, the amount of work that they put in each and every time we do these state championships for the past 2 years. It has been amazing at the work that they do for us. And we are very appreciative of it. Not only just Brett Cummings, but also his other guys that come along with him as well. And I know also, Brett, one of the things that I understand as well is those many hours that's took away from friends, family, and, you know, significant others that you're having to do it. So, man, I really, really appreciate, and I believe I'm speaking for the entire state of Georgia for this state championship and how much hard work that you do for us. So if y'all haven't, get over there and check them out at Decked Out John Boats on their Facebook page. They got a YouTube channel, all the live interviews that, or I'm sorry, not live interviews, all the interviews that they have been doing for the anglers. He's also got a lot of neat stuff on there as far as how to go through building a boat, customization. He's even got a website, sells a lot of stuff on that website. So get over there, check out Decked Out John Boats. Brett would love to see you over there. A lot of great guys. So with no further ado, we have our 2020. Boy, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I can hear the applause still going in the background. We have the 2020 Georgia Bass-TEC Total Electric Championships champions, Taylor and Dusty. Congrats, guys, again.
Thank you.
So I got a question. One of the things that there's a magic that you see, and I think I talked to y'all about this whenever I was getting this lined up for this post interview for how well y'all done in the state championship and everything. But when y'all's interview, when we done it, not putting others down or anything, so don't take it that way. But there was a magic about y'all when we sat down and on camera and talking. I do believe y'all were pretty hungry going into this thing and probably had a good game plan, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've always got some kind of game plan.
Whether it works or it doesn't, we got one.
So I know this, and I did not take and download it. That was the one thing that I did forget to do. Back a couple of weeks ago, y'all had a pretty good, I think, 3-4 weeks ago now, probably 4 or 5. Y'all had a pretty good turnout on that one too, didn't you?
At hard labor?
Yes, sir.
That was me and Patricia. Yeah, we had 2440, I think, with 11.15 kicker.
11 point. What was that again?
11.15.
11.15. Dude, that is. I've yet to hear of an 11-pounder coming out of hard labor. I would say you probably have got the lake record for Hard Labor Creek Reservoir.
As far as I know, I hadn't heard anything else bigger coming out of there. I wish there was a way to just kind of certify that, but I don't know that there is or not.
How about this? Maybe sharing this video around if anybody knows folks through with hard labor that might be able to. I know we have conversations through with the commissioner and stuff like that, but I'd love to help you out, and if we could try to orchestrate that and get it certified somehow to where it could be that, I would love it. But so being that y'all had that good turnout a few weeks before the cutoff, you had to have some type of ease of knowing of a good game plan going into this, right?
You hope it is.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, we're gonna just go back and try to catch them where we caught them last time." And they were there. I mean, you know, the day that me and her caught them, they were there, but we weren't. That was more or less the first time we'd really fished that spot. And once we got on, we kind of stuck with them, and we moved around a little bit to try other stuff, you know, to see if we could catch them. But in all reality, we came back and even invited him over to catch some, you know, on that day.
And I did.
Yeah, and he did, and then lost a couple more. So yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, that spot's got some fish on it. So I said, well, I spent 2 different days, I think, on Google Earth searching and made 20-something waypoints on Google Earth that was similar to that spot, just in case somebody beat us there, or, you know, they weren't there or whatever. So we made it there first and never left.
And I know y'all had to be nervous knowing, like, because I mean, not knocking you or nothing. I mean, y'all's boat speed, it's probably obviously from what some of the guys was running out there Saturday, was quite impressive. I mean, there was probably speeds in these electric John boats. I mean, I heard 13, 14 mile per hour out of some of these boats. And I know that probably had to be a little bit intimidating, thinking, man, can we get there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, I hope that nobody goes there. But I also knew that about 75% of the people were going to be in, you know, 10 foot or less of water first thing that morning. So although somebody might have went there, they was going to be way up shallow from where we were. I mean, we started in like 23 foot. So it was, I didn't think anybody else was starting that deep. So it all played out. And luckily nobody else was even in that area till later on in the day. But
so I'm going to take and pause for just a moment and let all our viewers that's watching tonight, if any of y'all got questions along this way, I don't know how much if Dusty and Taylor is going to give up to the exact bait, anything like that, to what they was throwing. But hey, I'm going to tell you, if you want to ask it, we will take and post this thing up here and make sure that it's asked to them. So, so get to typing if you got questions for them. We'll kind of dive into kind of the game plan of what we was wanting to discuss on this interview with y'all. There was a lot of things that I felt like that, correct me if I'm right, but y'all had a very good advantage going into this. For one, like I already discussed, you had the confidence of catching that big fish and knowing in an area where you could take and produce a good sack. Whether or not they'd be there would be the conditions while you're there that day. But the most important part, if you want to go ahead and kind of talk about it, I know y'all, we discussed it earlier. I know y'all are hating to talk about this. I know you are, but it is inevitable that everybody is progressing that way. But tell us what helped y'all, you feel like, the most to succeed to becoming the 2020 state champions.
I mean, the previous tournament was the number one thing, to be honest with you, you know, being able to go and find those fish. But I mean, we even watched other people come fish the same place we were fishing, and we're just like, I mean, yeah, they're fishing it, but they're not fishing it how we were fishing it. You know what I mean? Panoptics. I know you want me to say it, so there it is. I mean, it does all the hard work for you, where instead of running overfish or running side imaging, that kind of thing, it cuts all that out. You just, know, study your lake, know where the fish should be for that time of year, what they should be doing, go there, look for them. If they're there, try to catch them. If they're not there, then you move on to the next spot. But I mean, Panoptics is that's it. I mean, it's I don't. I hate to talk it up too much, but it is what it is. I mean, you look out there, you see the fish, you throw it to them, you watch them eat it, you set the hook. It's just the way it goes. It takes a lot of time on the water to even, be 100% sure what's fish or what's bass, that kind of thing. But me and Patricia have definitely put the time in on that this year, and spent a ton of time on the water. And I even took my buddy here. Cost him a ton of money. What did it take, one time?
Yeah, he took me one time, and we went on. It was 90 degrees, bluebird skies, no wind, and I think we had over 20 pounds. We caught over 30 fish off of it.
Middle of July. I'm
like, God, I gotta buy it now. So of course, talked to wife. Luckily she was sweet enough to okay it.
So what you're saying right there, that was a persuasion for all the other anglers out there. Stop what you're doing. Get your wife to come over and watch this live feed right now, because, I mean, the state champions are saying that it helps. But just talk sweetly, right? That works, right?
Sweetheart, baby, whatever you got to do.
Sweetheart, baby.
Jeff Reese made me talk to his wife personally and said, hey, hold on, let me put you on speakerphone. What was all that you were saying? So I apologize in advance for any damage I do, family damage.
So Josh Thompson, I mean, there's your question already asked. He wanted to ask, did the Panoptics play a big part in your win? I mean, if how do y'all think you would feel if you would have went into that tournament without Panoptics? How do you feel like it? Do you think it would have?
We'd be fishing the way we used to fish, which we would just we do the same thing. We'd find the location where we thought the fish should be, and then we would throw at the fish what we thought they would bite. But that's all still just a guessing game. I mean, we ended up with 16 or 17 fish on tournament day, and we caught every single one of them on Panoptics. I mean, that's the truth. It is what it is. You find the fish, you throw at them, whether they're in brush or suspended or on the bottom or whatever, and probably over half of those fish we watched them eat the bait. So yeah,
wow,
it makes it a lot easier. I mean, like I said, it takes a lot of time. You definitely have to.
It's definitely not as easy as he's making it out to be.
No, you're talking hundreds of hours of staring at that screen. I mean, we fished tournaments this year, Patricia and I did, where I got in the truck and we were driving home, and I was like, I couldn't even tell you where we fished at today. I don't know where we started because I never looked. Neither one of us ever looked up.
That's funny. So Dusty, Jeff Reese wanted to make the comment. Teresa said, thanks, Merrick. Laugh out loud. So you're very, very welcome there. So here it is, guys. Here's a question that's come in here. Travis Parker, need to know the bait or it didn't happen. Laugh out loud. Kickers early morning or later.
I mean, they wasn't really kickers. They were all pretty big.
Well, the first thing in the morning, we had a limit really fast, but they weren't quality. The bite seemed like it got off a little bit, and then the second round of bites is when the bigger fish showed up. But we had our weight in the box by 10:40.
No, it was 11:39.
11:39. 11:40.
Yeah. We sent a text and said, hey, we got 20. And we caught fish after that, but just no quality. I mean, we pulled up, first or second cast. I was throwing because I wanted to be different. I didn't want to throw what I'm really bad about that. I'll go and just wear them out on something and catch an 11-pounder on it, and then and then I'll go back and I want to throw something different and see if they'll bite it. I got to test the waters, So I had a big 5.8-inch TEC swim bait on a big 1/2-ounce 6-cents head and threw it out there. I think maybe second cast. I was like, oh, there's some fish, and I threw out there and reeled along, and I saw one come up behind it. By the time, and I was like, oh, it's a giant. I mean, it's a 6-inch swim bait on a 1/2-ounce head, and I guess like 1.5 pounds. I was like, well, crap. But that's the only fish we caught on a different bait out of 16 or 17 fish. That was the only odd bait. Everything else came off the exact same thing.
So, okay, maybe expand on that a little bit, and I'm curious on this. Being I was out there riding around circles around a lot of the guys, did it change for y'all the bite for the day? Was it were the fish pretty much hugging towards the bottom, or was it early in the morning they were suspended up? Could you tell a difference as the day progressed on?
I mean, what we were fishing, they were pretty much on the bottom. I mean, there was some suspended fish, which I'm sure there's some video out there somewhere. You hear us hollering wolf pack. And that's what we love to see, what we call a wolf pack, or what I call a wolf pack. It's kind of taken off now, but basically a wolf pack is when you see, 70 foot in front of you, 60 foot in front of you, you see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 fish, and they're suspended and they're just running. And if you throw in them, man, it's like
it's almost guaranteed a bite.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't get it, you can be in 25 foot and they can be in 7 foot. They will either eat it before it hits the bottom, or they'll follow it all the way along and fight each other over it.
Man,
there was some of those, and I think we did catch some that way, but more of it was on structure. They were just sitting on the ledge, or it might have been in the brush pile or whatever. And we would just, we talked afterwards that it really could have been better. Honestly, we feel like we didn't. Feel like we should have moved around a little more on where we were sitting earlier.
Got a little shallow.
I honestly believe there was, considering what we caught, there was a 24, 25-pound bag on that spot. But, can't be 100% perfect.
it's tough to move around whenever you can just turn your eyes and see, right?
That's right.
So Travis did want to say congratulations to both of y'all, by the way. So Josh Thompson has a statement here. He wants to ask how your shoulder is after Dusty destroyed it, Taylor.
I asked him after the tournament. I was like, I think I hit you pretty hard. He's like, honestly, I didn't even feel it because I was so in shock.
I'll tell you what, though, my back is still hurting from toting the team.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, man. Golly. Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't think about it this year. I should have bought a net, and we could have put a label on it for you, Dusty, as the state champion net man.
You can ask him. I told him, we were catching them in the beginning pretty hot and heavy, and I caught a pretty good one, and he was like, that gummit, and then he didn't he didn't catch one for a minute, or caught another one that was small, and he was like, golly, man, I want to catch some big ones. Where are the big ones at? And I think I caught another one. I said, Dusty, I don't care who catches these fish as long as they end up in that live well. It don't matter to me.
Huh. That's right, Lee Drake. Lee Drake made the comment on it. One day when he grows up, he's going to buy one of those Panoptics. So, question Doug has, what size screen are y'all using?
He's got a 10-inch. I've got a 9-inch on my boat.
Yeah, I use the 106 SV. I'm wanting to go to the 126 SV, which is the 12, and then he's got the 93 SV.
Good deal. And you can obviously tell me the same thing as what it's always been. The bigger you get, the better the resolution, correct?
Yeah. And the higher quality craft you go up, the better the resolution gets as well.
Yeah. So David Adamson has the question, did the bite ever turn off for y'all?
Oh, yeah. Lunchtime, we kept debating on leaving, but there were still fish there. There just was not many, and we didn't know where they went. But by the time we were trying to decide whether we wanted to leave and go try some of our other places, it was already pushing 1 o'clock. And during our classic tournament, you pulled up about 1:30 or so.
Yeah, about 1:40.
Yeah, and he pulled up, and we had gone around to the next pocket, and he called, and I was talking to him, whatever, and he caught one. So we're like, well, we're going to head back and sit with you. So we went back, and me and Patricia found 2 or 3 wolf packs and ended up upgrading like a 3.5. And then he had 2 more pull off, I think. So on actual TEC day, no, once it pretty much died, it was, I mean, we picked a handful, maybe 4 fish.
I caught that 1 3-pounder that didn't keep towards the end of the day. Besides that, no quality. After
12, we probably didn't catch 3 fish,
So let's kind of, talk about the Panoptics that y'all have got, because a lot of folks, you see the videos, you try to understand exactly. Correct me if I'm right with this. Before, when you watch videos, it's nothing whenever you're firsthand right there in front of it, watching it in live screen and knowing what's going on, correct?
Yeah, I actually had to go through 3 different colors on mine. When I first started, I had to go to like the original Panoptics, like pre-live scope. I had to go to that coloration, which is like the blue and white. It'll have a little bit of green, but as fish or hard structure comes on, it'll have more of the yellowish red, and then you can actually watch for that stuff moving. So that's kind of how I taught myself to read it. And then I started switching into like the amber like I have now, and I wouldn't change that for anything because I can see them from 80 foot out, no problem.
So we're going to kind of dive in and have some conversations. If folks have questions, comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll try my best between back and forth and pulling these stuff up in images. And in between, I'll try to make sure to pause to where we can look at them. So y'all can see the screen, Dusty and Taylor, correct? So tell us what exactly, I think this is probably a good representation right off the bat to give an example about Panoptics and what you're looking at. Try to explain it for folks to understand.
So basically, that's just imagine trolling motors hanging off the front of that boat. You're looking out. It'll look out up to 200 foot. That says 60 foot. I think it's set to. The further you go out, I believe the wider the degree will go. But 30 degrees in front of the boat. When you're making a 75 foot cast, 80 foot cast, it's not that big of a range. So it does spread out a little bit out in front of the boat, but it's not much. That was one of the hardest thing for me and Patricia and even Dusty to learn was I don't know how many trips it took them casting where they could ever even see their bait. And me too. It really did. It takes a lot of time, hours and hours to figure it out. But that's basically what you're looking at. You're looking in front of you. As you turn the motor, that exact same cone will turn 360 degrees all the way around the boat.
So sort of here's another view. Sort of same thing like we were talking about up towards beside that. I can't see it because of my feed. It says 30-something T, where it has the 0, 5, 10. That 0 is the point, correct, for where the boat's located?
The actual transducer, where the transducer's in the water. So, most guys have it on their trolling motor. So that 0 point is where your trolling motor goes in the water.
Yeah. So anything in your motor, you're looking at a dock right there with pylons, and there's obviously, I need a location for that because it is loaded with crappie. You can see behind the boat, the deeper you are, not behind the boat, but you can see under the boat, and depending on how deep you are, depends on how far under the boat, it kind of reflects backwards as well. So for drop shot and things of that nature is pretty handy, which it does have a downward view and a perspective view, but 90% of the time I run forward unless I get really shallow. I run perspective, which is basically just taking that transducer and turning it horizontal instead of vertical. You turn it horizontal,
so you get 180 degrees.
Yeah, it's like 100. No, it's about 160 something. 160. I think 163 degrees or whatever. But you're looking in live time still. And so it's pretty handy for shallow water.
I think y'all pretty much already answered it. Both of y'all have y'all's transducer mounted on the trolling motor so that way you can have that rotation turn, or do y'all have a separate device?
No, on the trolling motor. It's on the motor.
And you got to. Is there ever? Do you ever see like? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They make a perspective mount that it's different. It's separate to run it with the 3 different views.
I got you. So do y'all ever foresee maybe to where there could be an advantage to where that transducer is separate from your trolling motor, maybe?
You could, but then you're no longer, you've got to. It'd be like putting a hand drive trolling motor on the bow of the boat. You're not going to be hands free, and to be 100% hands free and be focused on the rod and the reel, it's got to be on the motor. I see a lot of guys crappie fishing and things of that nature, mine on the side of the boat, and they can turn that way. They can drop an anchor or put it on spot lock, and they can pinpoint the fish wherever, and the boat can stay wherever. They can just stay on top of them and cast them that way. For bass fishing, it's got to be on the motor.
Gotcha. So let's take a look at another screenshot here. I've got a few more to kind of go through. Folks, continue if you got questions along the way. What's y'all's view on this? What does it look like?
Brush pile, and it's got a bunch of fish in it too.
So obviously those brighter sections is where the fish are in that brush.
Yeah,
the bright dots.
Yeah. Your brighter things that, well, to me they look like fish. Maybe it's because I look at it so much, but yeah, your brighter sections you can see within the limbs and all. That's your fish. And then if it was recording and all, you could see them a little better as they moved and whatnot.
Gotcha. Sort of same thing. That's pretty close resemblance to another brush pile, some fish in it. So you talk about color palettes changing around. I mean, is there different times of the year maybe to where you've seen to where maybe the lake conditions, if the clarity's different, does it help to kind of change around the palette?
I mean, you can. It's personal preference. I personally don't like that one right there at all.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, the previous one's what I run most of the time. That's what was recommended. Yeah, you can get the best pickup, and once you learn that one, it's easy to stick with it, and everything shows out really, really good. So
with this picture here, what's y'all's take? It obviously, and I'm curious on this, where the 0 degree is up top of the picture, there's a bright thing there that's just under the surface. What's y'all's take on probably what that may be? Is that part of the boat?
Probably some type of bait, honestly. Probably
I got you.
Up there at the motor.
So looking at, okay, you obviously got your degrees up top, but then you also have, that's your depth column on the left side where it goes down to roughly what, 19-foot depth?
That's all feet on top and the side.
Yeah, top and side are how many feet. So basically top's how many it is, and the left is how many feet down.
I got you. So you can have left and right too. I see what you're talking about now. Okay. Pretty embarrassing here. I'm finally catching on. I'm a slow country boy, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're standing.
It's don't feel bad. It's definitely not a easy tool. You're not going to go buy one, strap it on your boat, and go catch 20 pounds with it the next day. I mean, it
took me weeks and weeks of just tuning.
To catch one on it where you felt like it was actually on that graph.
Just tuning it until I finally got it. I mean, video after video and making phone calls and doing everything I could. And it literally, the night I put it on the boat, I think we had a tournament that was on like a Thursday night. We got it mounted up. And me and Patricia left the house at, I think it was 10:45 at night. We put Morgan in bed. I was like, we'll be back in a little bit. And I think we showed back up at 1. We literally drove to Lake Seton and stayed out there for an hour and a half while I messed with it. And she was catching on a black spinner bait. I'm over, just get out of the way. Like, I'm trying to figure this out.
That is awesome. So got another image. I believe that was one that you had actually took yourself.
Yeah, I did. That was not long after I got it. And I got parallel with that tree.
SJW?
No, that's Seton.
Okay.
Yeah, we catch a bunch of big fish out of that tree. And when you see it laid in the water, but you don't know what it really looks like. So yeah, that was a good image I snapped of it.
So curiosity, I noticed on the bottom portion of that screen, you've got some mapping. It looks like it's been done as well. That's another big player as well.
Man, I said for the longest time, pre-Panoptics, I said, look, you can take my sonar, down imaging, side imaging, everything away. And if you do your research on the lake, use Google Earth. I'm sure everybody does. and you know what the fish should be doing, just give me a map and I'll go find the fish. I mean, that's really all you got to have. But post Panoptics, yeah, it's a little different. But the map is a major key because you know exactly where you got to sit, where you got to look at your depths and everything contour. So I build all my own maps for everywhere. See, I mean, every reservoir we go to, I'm building maps the entire time, pre-fishing, tournament day, everything. Just trying to. That's why, you know, we built a heck of a map at hard labor, only in a couple places. But that's what I'll do if I find a good spot. I'm gonna go. I'll run up and down it 8 or 10 times until I get it perfect, and I'll fish it. You know, or I'll have it for next time.
Gotcha. So let's dive into some meat and taters. I believe you've you know, folks, I'm gonna tell you, a state champion is never stopping working. It absolutely blows my mind. Y'all went out today and done some video and just for this show tonight. And I'm telling you, I can't be. The guys are not going to be, you know, are going to be very appreciative of it. So, you know,
I rushed home just because I was like, look, I need to get off early tonight. You know, told them I had this going on, and luckily got off early enough to, man, I ran in, changed clothes, hooked the boat up, and tore out, and brought Morgan with me. And she's like, what are we doing? We're fishing. I'm like, well, you know, you're not fishing, but you got a video. You got a video with her. She's still a little rough around the edges, so everybody bear with her. But she said, where are we going? I was like, well, we're going to the shed, and that's where we're going to sit. We got 45 minutes, and we pulled up, and man, it was unbelievable. It was just me and her. I just mounted the GoPro for the first time, just looking straight down at Panoptics, and then let her run my cell phone just to try to get as much footage as we could. They were just slap covered up, though. It was insane. There was probably 40, 50 bass sitting on the end of that point.
So you can honestly say y'all became state champions, and you've already got a film crew in your boat. not even 7 days after. I mean, I think that's the first yet for a state champion.
All I know is you said you wanted some video to try to put in here. If I can get there on time, I will get you the video, buddy. And a couple 5-pounders and 3s, and I don't know, 8 or 10 fish later, we got you some video.
So I'm gonna click the share screen with everybody so everybody can see this. But before I click share, I want everybody to know this is not my normal color mouse. I've enhanced the mouse so that way we can try to use it for demonstration purposes tonight. So let's dive into here and take a look. So you had shared this video with me. Let's get this. So I'm gonna pause it here so that way everybody can kind of look at it and see, and you can describe what's going on.
So we were fishing. Patricia and Morgan were fishing back in July, and we randomly stumbled. Well, I went and fished a deep brush pile with a big TEC again, and I was like, man, that brush pile is covered up with fish. Big TEC out there. The brush pile came up to about 10 foot. It was in 20 foot of water, and I reeled across it, and like I see all these fish. All of a sudden, I see one come up out of it and just smoking. I'm like, oh, I got one. Well, I set the hook and start reeling it in. It's not really doing anything, but I caught like a 14-inch crappie on I think it was a 4.8-inch TEC, so 5-inch swim bait and a 1/2 ounce head. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we switched over to a little 2.8-inch TEC and a little tiny 1/8 ounce head and started firing in there, man. We were catching 12 to 15 inchers like every cast. So then we just started trying to duplicate that. Let Morgan go catch some, and this is a video. Basically, I don't think you can see the little jig fall because it already fell down right in the edge of the brush pile, and she's kind of reeling it up, and you can see the crappie attack it, and then see her reel up.
So the attacking is obviously that little, because you can see the movement how it started shifting, and I'll kind of shift it back and forth if the video feed. If
you watch the whole brush pile moves too, like it's just loaded full of crappie. They weren't very big, but
Got him.
Oh goodness! Oh.
That is awesome. So let's dive into another one here. You kind of keep talking to us. Tell us what's going on.
So I mean, what you're seeing is fish. That's bass. Those bright colored spots are bass. Yeah, and as you go up, there's a little bit of grass.
What about these? You got these little looks like 3, 4, 5 dots.
That's probably small bass, but up under the boat.
Or maybe some bait fish.
It could be bait. They look a little big to be bait. I mean, the more you use it, the more you can even tell the size of the fish. Dusty saw some this weekend. I was like, "Oh, there's a pile right there," and I was like, those are small. We're not throwing them." He's like, "What?"
So you can tell obviously by Panoptics, same way as like 2D traditional sonar. You can look at it and know, is that a quality fish or is it a small one?
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of time, but yeah, you definitely can.
So what is this line? Is that where your bait had dropped?
No, that more than likely. So you'll see like an archway or sometimes that line on Panoptics. It's just the way, for some reason, the transducer will put that in the screen. I did have gain pretty high. And the shallower you get, you have to lower your gain. So there you'll see a couple videos throughout where it might look a little fuzzy. It's just because I went out of 30 foot of water and I was up in 15. I didn't really adjust my gain that much. So yeah, way out there, about 70, or no, I had it set on 60 right there. I guess it may have already ate it at this point. But yeah.
I haven't even watched this yet to see how the fish.
It was a pretty big one. I thought it was a little bigger than what it was, but
look at that boat flip.
Choking that thing.
That is awesome. So let's go. I think this was the next one.
oh yeah, I think I told her because I felt one eat it on the way down. So it's like, start recording.
See that rod? Seen that rod double over a little. And just that way everybody knows that's watching this. I mean, this was this afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, you stopped what you were doing and got out there and made this happen so that way you could show these folks. That is awesome. So here's another one.
Yeah, what you're seeing there is the fish. I mean, you can see on the so that's one. But if you'll go down in the edge of the grass right there to your right, like further out, and even in between those two bright ones, see the two bright ones you see that you just put your mouse on, that one and that one. There's actually 3 fish in between those two.
Okay, so maybe this one, and yeah, maybe once we start playing it, you'll see it a little bit more. So this is obviously probably some grass that you're seeing. I believe I have lost feed with y'all somehow. No, I believe I have, folks. We haven't even got to the good part yet. Yep, I have lost their feed. So y'all just bear with us 1 second. I'll try to get them back on here. So that way we can finish these videos up, show it to them. Things always go like this during interviews. So what I may wind up doing while they're getting back on here, if you can, y'all folks, leave us a comment. Just let us know. Make sure you still hear my audio feed. Make sure there hadn't been no problem. So that way I can still make sure that everything's loud and clear from mine end. And I'll hang tight just a minute. I don't want to go into showing all the videos yet. So that way I can make sure to get comments. I'm going to text him, make sure he's able to get back in. Who knows? Facebook may have took and just shut us down. I don't know. Oh, Jeffrey's saying it. Oh, okay. Lee Drake. Good. Okay. So I'm going to keep messaging here with Taylor and them and Dusty and get them back on in a minute. So let's go back into the videos. Kind of show y'all a little bit. That was that one, first one. Here's the one we was talking about where he was saying you could actually see 3. Oh, yeah, there they are. I see them all now. Yep, there goes one. Looks like swimming by, a little one. And he hit it. Good deal. Okay, so everybody know this. Taylor's saying that their internet went out and they're trying now to get back on. So just bear with us just a few minutes and we'll make sure to get them back into this live feed. So prime opportunity to take a moment again. If you just now logging on, I want to go back in here and thank once again our primary sponsor that makes all of this stuff possible by getting the footage of the event, last year's TEC, this year's TEC, and future TECs. Thanking Decked Out John Boats. Their hard work, not only just Brett Cummings, but the other folks that he brings along with him. And I believe it's Tony with Southern Mayhem. I believe it's Brett's family member also. I believe it was his brother, brother-in-law. I can't remember which one if it was, so I apologize. Comes along and helps out each and every time. And I believe another gentleman as well coming out as well. So thank y'all so much. All of the video footage that they're putting together for the 2020 Georgia Bass-TEC. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be amazing seeing the footage of these anglers competing during the state championship. It's absolutely mind-blowing of how much hard work that they do and how appreciative each and every one of us are of their hard work. So get over there and check them out on Facebook, Decked Out John Boats. If you haven't, lot of awesome reads in there about boat modifications. If you're having problems, not only just trolling motor, but gas motors, all these different things, Decked Out John Boats has got it. You can get over and join that group if you hadn't. A lot of great conversations, a lot of good folks that'll get on there and help you out. So also get over and check out Decked Out John Boats has a website. You can get on there and you can do orders directly through Decked Out. And I know he's got a lot of things planning in the future as far as building that site, getting a lot more items to come. I don't know if he's fully talking about it yet, but a lot of great things to come. So get over there and check them out, Decked Out John Boats. Google them, search them, Facebook, everything else. So we appreciate their support to the TEC and their hard work. And now we have got the TEC 2020 state champs back again.
The internet took a crap.
It dumped.
Yeah, I mean, all at once.
Oh, man. So let's dive right back in here again. I already finished that video, and you could see the 3 fish where we was talking about. So let's dive in here to the next one. Tell me what we're looking at right here.
So this is just a straight GoPro view down onto, just straight looking at the Panoptics. Basically sitting on the edge of this point, looking up, and you can see the fuzzy stuff along the bottom. That's just light grass. The grass has started to die off, but it grows out there. It'll grow out to 20 foot. I mean, it gets 3 foot tall and 15 foot, and as you get out to 20, it starts to die off. But that's kind of what we're looking at.
Curiosity. Okay, so you have 0 where y'all were talking about transducer is located. When you're looking at this at your screen, will this side over here be to your left side of the boat, and then this will be to your right side?
In whatever direction the transducer is pointing.
So wherever you turn your motor, that's where you make your cast. That's where you're looking. There's no left or right. It's straight ahead, but straight ahead is only straight ahead of where the motor is pointing.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, like, if this is in the straight position, the way the boat is facing right now, this would obviously, and I'm a slow country boy. This would kind of be the right side of that cone of like what we talked about of the degree angle that you can view. This would kind of be to your right side, correct?
The cone is so small that you don't even really have a cone until you get out there probably 40 foot. I mean, it's a slow taper. At the boat, it's almost nothing. It's a very slow taper outward, and it slowly opens up into 30 degrees, but doesn't reach the 30 degrees until you get far out.
Okay, so let's talk a good topic here. So these are fish here, correct?
Yeah, I believe there's 2 down there.
So when you're sitting there in the boat right now, how far are you going to cast out from the boat to be able to land on these fish?
Well, whatever it says up top. I mean, if you wanted to go, it'd be about 5 foot probably.
5 to 10 foot, and that's all you need to go.
Yeah, if that far, yeah.
I got you.
There should be some video where you can see the bait too. Maybe this one.
Yeah, it looks like that's a fish there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think there's some all the way out there about 70 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like there's several out there. It might actually be my bait falling. Let me see.
Yeah, you missed one right there. I just seen the bait come. So are we looking at right here where your bait's probably at's right in here?
Could be.
I kept seeing lines here, and when you looks like when you jerk here in a second and miss the fish, it looks like it has some movement right in here.
That may just be. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool images. Here's your next one.
So that's a bunch of fish right there. You can see them all out there. It's probably looks like 60 foot. It's kind of small from here, but yeah, there's 2 or 3 fish right there for sure.
Looks like I see some movement right in here a good bit.
Yeah, and they stack up out there, man. They'll be from 0 to 80 foot. I mean, yeah, you can see there's a ton of fish right there. So basically, there's one right there where you just had your mouse. If you go down to the left of that, there's a pretty good one right there. And then when you go outward, towards the end, there's, good Lord, I don't know how many right there, a bunch.
Yeah, I can see. It looks like some brightness to it. So, okay, curiosity. Do you see when you're running that Panoptix? Do you see a lot of? Is it always going to be in this black section here, upward, where you see fish, or sometimes do you get returns down into this section?
Not really. Yeah, not often. When you get in grass and stuff where it has a little more trouble, like anything finding the exact bottom, that's when you may start to see. But normally, if you can scan around, kind of get a different angle, you can see them a lot better.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish there.
Back down up just a little bit. A little bit more. All right. Around 40 foot, if you'll watch, you can see my bait falling.
Okay.
See it
right
falling?
There.
Yeah.
Right there. I'm going to back it up so folks can see it again. Yeah, right there.
I had missed one. I had one hooked, and it come off, and the jig come flying. I let it fall back to the bottom.
So tell us right here what are you fishing? What are you looking at for the folks?
So we're sitting right in the creek channel, looking up onto that point, and you'll see here in a minute. This is actually the very first video when we first pulled up, and it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how many fish are there. And I'm pretty sure I get on video. The boat turns when I set the hook, but you can see, I mean, they all just attack the jig as it falls. They're way out, probably 50, 60 foot at least.
So what do you think? Is this just structure that's kind of off the bottom here?
That's more likely that's just like rock on the edge of the creek channel.
I got you.
Yeah, and you can already start seeing a few fish. You can see the fish out there pretty far. There's one up a little closer. Yeah, so there's several fish right there. But as the video goes on, I'm telling you, there's a bunch. That's actually a brush pile.
Okay, that's why I was starting to wonder. Obviously, you can see it's attached to the bottom of the lake.
That's brush, and you can see crappie and bass around it. Yeah,
that looks like a good fish. That was when you turned it, you could see it had some meat to it.
Oh yeah, and you can see. I mean, you can clearly see them swimming around, going after bait, and this, that, and the other. I think I'm trying to get repositioned here. I see them scooting in a little bit.
And that's kind of what you're talking about as far as just sometimes you get those returns a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I don't know if it's a reflection or what. It's something, as you turn your gain up, you'll start to get that. And like the last video, I had some distortion. That's because I'd moved up shallower and got a little bit of distortion. But
almost looks like a whole tree right there, kind of.
Yeah, it is a pretty good size. It's a pretty good size bush or tree, one of the two.
Good.
But so those fish wouldn't bite. I casted them 2 or 3 times. But what you're seeing right there, yeah, you're about to see a bunch. And actually, if you look in the reflection of the graph, you can see me like, oh, there they are. And I fire out to them. And I think you can see the jig fall. Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
Wads of them.
Can you make that a little bit bigger on the screen? Make this part bigger.
That's about as big as I can get. I can't zoom in on this video. What do you want to point out?
Hold on. I might be able to make mine bigger. I never made this bigger. Wait. There we go. Now we can see it. Now we're cooking with something. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fish, and they're all in that brush pile, but they wouldn't eat. But I'm looking for the ones, basically a wolf pack out there, and it just gets worse. There's more. I just casted in them. Trying to see if you can see my jig. Oh yeah, it's falling right at 65 foot. Yeah, that's all bass. If you back up just a hair and look at like the 65 foot, you'll see the jig falling down.
So everybody can see my cursor is right on the 65 foot right here. So watching in this area. There it goes.
Yeah, and you'll
see it keep falling.
Yeah, you'll see it keep falling. Yeah, it goes. And they just go after. I mean, I don't know, what is that, 25, 30 fish right there probably?
Yeah, it looks like that one right there was already starting to nose down on you.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and then I swing. Yeah.
You can't make everybody think they just go buy it and catch fish.
Now, there is a disclaimer to this. I am fishing one of the best reservoirs in the entire state, so there's definitely a disclaimer there.
So we get to see the fish through a Garmin screen.
Yeah,
that's a first right here. That is awesome.
Just be ready. Don't pay any attention to the GoPro. Let me look.
That is awesome, dude. So that was all the videos, and I'm telling you, that right there explains so much that people doesn't even realize on Panoptics to how much it enhances your ability to be able to know instead of having to drive over them, see them, turn around and start casting to them, or vertically be on top of them and pressure them to death. That's a big advantage.
Yeah, I don't know how many fish me and him both have caught that it's so stupid, that we swung on before we ever felt a bite. Like, you just know.
So
I mean,
we had the second day of our classic.
yeah.
I pulled offshore and I seen a big ball of shad, and I beat the bank most of the day with hardly any luck. And I seen a big ball of shad, and I threw my bait out, and I could see it fall when it hit the shad. When it hit the shad separated on the screen. And it's about the time they separated, a giant glowing blob come off the bottom, straight to my bait. And I never checked pressure. I never checked. I just reeled down and set the hook. I mean, no.
Yeah, I mean, when you really get on them, and I'm sure, well, I don't know if it actually happened tonight, but there's been a ton of times where you'll see a school of fish, a wolf pack, and you'll fire out there, and like, all right, I see it falling, and like it falls through, and you'll just see them go crazy for it, and then all of a sudden they kind of like disperse, and you look, and you're like, well, where the heck did it go? Like, it should still be falling to the bottom. Like, crap, like 180 on the way down. You make this paper, there ain't but one place it can be because he ain't got no pockets. I guarantee you that much.
So, Ron Pendergrass, what's the question for the free gift? Ron, I'm going to tell you, buddy, just being able to hear this from the state championship anglers of 2020 TEC, man, that is a gift in itself that not only Ron gets to receive, but everybody else watching gets to see. So, Scott Edwards, anybody else confused, or is it just me?
Don't let him lie. He's got it too.
Yeah. Scott knows about it. He's just trying to play it off, ain't he? So
it's an awesome tool, but at the same time, I can't tell you how many times since I've had it trying to learn it. I'll go out there and I'll find fish on it and waste an hour throwing the same fish. You spin around this side, throw the same fish, and never even get a bite. And it can be so discouraging. I mean, it can ruin your day. It can make your day and it can ruin your day. I mean, it can hurt you just as much as it helps you. Honestly,
yeah, the plus and the negative in the TEC on our local reservoir. We find a school of fish like we found tonight. And I thought about, actually I did. I threw a rig a little bit. They wouldn't even look at it. I mean, and it tells you so much from color. I mean, I picked up a different color bait tonight and threw it a handful of times and caught one on it, and they wouldn't touch it. And I was like, well, crap, they destroyed one of them. So I was like, let me tie on another one because obviously I keep a lot of them. And I threw it right back out there, and boom, they started eating again. So in the TEC, I threw an A-rig, we threw a crankbait, and you would like, look, there's 2 or 3 fish, you'd run it past them, and they wouldn't even turn their head, And sometimes when they get sick of seeing a bait, you'll throw out there, there's one, halfway suspended, 2, 3, 4, 5 foot off the bottom. You throw it out there, you put it 2 foot in front of his face or hit him in the head with it, and then you will watch him like spin around and swim the other direction. He don't want it. He's full.
Some of these fish get a lot of pressure. And like he said, you'll throw it fish after fish, and you just watch them swim away, one after another, just swim away.
So you've exactly nailed what I was going to probably talk about next with it. I mean, it really, correct me if I'm right with this, y'all are sight fishermen when it gets in the time of the year for bed fishing and love it as well, correct?
No.
Never done it.
Never done it.
Never bed fished. And me and Patricia got up Sunday morning and went to Seaton and fished. And we caught them. We pulled them on a point, and I caught a 3.5. She caught a 5.5. I was like, oh, they're on fire. We pulled back up there. They literally were gone. There was 20, 30 fish just sitting in a dead straight line from 30 foot to 80 foot. And, it was loaded. They were mud down on the bottom, easy. You just throw it out there, drag it, and, they'd eat it. But then we went shallow, and we fished about 200 yards. She caught a couple on a spinner bait, and we went about another 100 yards. She was like, all right, yeah, I'm bored. Let's go do something else. So we went looking for more, schools of fish. So it's hard. Once you go that route, it's hard to go back. It's springtime's going to be tough. I really think it is for me because that's not my style anymore. It never really has been, but it changes your whole perspective. And on the other side of that, you can't go buy Panoptix Live Scope and keep doing what you're doing. You've got to change your entire fishing strategy. Basically, everything you ever learned, you throw it away and start fresh. Yeah. So.
But it almost is the same concept as before Panoptix for sight fishing for bedding fish. It's the same concept. You're casting to them, you're seeing them, and you get to see their reaction. It just like what you described. If they swim off, then you know that it's something of not interest to them. Or if they at least hang around, you can kind of tell bouncing that thing around if it fires them up or not pretty quickly, whether or not you can work on them fish or not, right?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about it compared to sight fishing, I guess, is that sight fishing they can see you where, with Panoptix they can't. When they're 20 foot deep, 75 foot in front of you, they don't have any idea that you're there.
So Chastity Diamond has got a question. Have you learned things from fishing with Panoptix that you can use if you were to go fish without it? Like if your graph bounced, and it sounds like this might be something that she knows or Chastity knows. Like if your graph bounced out of its cradle on the way to a tournament? Ooh.
Thanks, babe.
It wasn't me.
Thanks, babe. Hey, was that the babe that you asked permission and begged to?
Lovely wife that said yes, I can have it.
And it bounced out of the cradle, huh?
So the Garmins have the cradle. They clip into the cradle. And so the very first tournament I had it, put it on the boat, got everything wired up, ready to go. Didn't have a clue what to do with it, but we were going to the first tournament. It was at Hard Labor in September. Yeah, September. And going down 20 from our house, we were all the way across 20, the other side of Atlanta. We come through downtown where all the street lights are lit up, and I look in my rearview mirror, and all I see is cradle, no graph. And my heart stopped. I pulled off on the side of the interstate, jumped out of the truck, and walked back to the boat, and the graph was laying over halfway down my boat on top of my rod locker.
Whew.
If I didn't look up when I looked up, there's no telling where it had been.
So you just got a nickname, right?
What's that?
You are the cradle robber. He is the cradle robber. Man, I would have been sick as a dog.
Oh, my heart stopped. I pulled over on the side of 20. I just pulled over, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh my God. But I got lucky and it was still in the boat.
Speaking of adrenaline there and gut wrenching pain and feeling so disgusted. I mean, I got to see you firsthand come up. I mean, Taylor, you look pretty cool as a cucumber, but Dusty, on the other hand, when he come up to the scales, y'all are going to see it. I've got it through to Decked Out John, and I'm sure you'll wind up seeing it at some point in the video production. But Dusty, look, was that maybe like a resemblance of gut wrenching pain? Maybe
it was a different kind of pain.
We were nervous, man. We
talked about it all day. Like he said earlier, we had our bag before noon, and we were like, "There's no way this is going to cut it." We just knew there was going to be a 23, 24-pound bag. And then when you walked up and told us to go last, I'm like, dude, there's no way he's doing that back-to-back years. Like, he's just going to use us to give somebody else a scare that's going to weigh in a little early. I'm like, there's no way.
We actually were watching it live. There was like 5 boats in front of us, and we had talked to all 5 of those boats, or they had talked to us, vice versa. And, they were like, oh, we got 14, and we got 6, and we got 9. And so I'm sitting in the boat. I'm just sitting there, and people are coming up talking to me, and I probably need to apologize because so many people like congratulated us, shook our hands, and everything else. And I was just like, I don't even remember half of it, to be honest with you. But we were sitting there, and I'm watching it on live, and he's watching it on live, and he calls me. I'm like, he's sitting in the truck. Why the heck is he calling me? He's like, are we about to win this? And I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like, I don't. And I think that was a major highlight, but I don't like to just win a little bit. I like to win everything. So when I got there and I asked what big fish was, they said 535, and I knew we had one what I thought was 5 1/4 or 5 something anyway. So that's why I weighed it and then turned around and weighed the other one. And he I think he was putting another fish up, and I was like, "We've got big fish too."
So Jeff Reese is saying, ask Dusty what almost happened on his first trip.
That's what he's talking about losing the graft.
Oh man, that is good. So Brandon was saying he may have missed it. What exactly? Which unit are y'all? Both of y'all, because I know you said 2 different boats. Tell again, so that folks can hear what graph y'all are actually using.
I'm running the 106 SV, which is the 10-inch. It's the Ultra 106 SV.
You got 93 SV.
Yeah, so his is 9-inch, mine's 10-inch.
Gotcha. Chris Thompson, have you guys used Perspective live scope to fish shallow?
I have.
And if you don't mind, define shallow. Dusty and Taylor, tell us what's y'all's interpretation of shallow.
What we use most is the Panoptix forward mode, which is looking straight in front of the boat. The shallow, man, it works great. You get 7 foot or less.
You want perspective. Yeah, I mean,
you can't see as well. The area's so much smaller. It's just everything merges together on the forward mode. So you can switch it over to perspective mode, which shows a wider range. You're looking at more width than you are straight in front of you.
I mean, I have used it. I can't tell you how many fish I've caught off of it because it hasn't been that many, but I also hardly ever fish shallow. If you were in a good, clear lake that didn't have a lot of vegetation in the bottom, perspective was going to be outstanding. One lake we were on had seawalls, and I actually would drive down the seawalls with perspective, and you could see them sitting on like stairs or like a little pillar sticking out, and then just flip over there to them. And you can't see your bait and all as good. You can still see the fish really good, but your bait and all doesn't show up as much just because of the way it's designed. But if you can flip in the general vicinity, a lot of times you can get lucky doing that. But perspective is helpful, just a little bit tougher than the forward view.
That's a good question. So if you got any more questions, guys, make sure get them in here. We're getting over a little bit of hour here, so we'll try to go ahead and start wrapping things up. If anybody has any questions, just take some time right now, start typing it. But moving forward, y'all have qualified, correct me if I'm right, for the 2021 E-Propulsion TEC State Championship, correct?
Yep.
And that's both of y'all.
Yeah, so me and Patricia finished first. Dusty and his partner finished second in the club. So we'll be battling out next year.
So what we might need to do going into this next one is it's tough to split y'all apart. Might even see both of y'all on one interview together. If that's something of interest, maybe down the road. But going into this, I mean, do y'all see? Yeah, I mean, y'all both have the confidence with it for Panoptix. How do y'all feel going into the 2021 TEC now that y'all are going to be defending state champions in different boats?
Different time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be able to find them, and I'm sure we'll work like Xtreme John boats, man. We won the state club for the state in the TEC championship for the club, and we had a group chat between the 4 of us that Saturday, and we were like, hey, we're catching them on this, we work as a team.
It was pretty funny. We sent the text at 11:39, and I hadn't texted. He had been doing the one doing all the texts, and I was trying to just run the motor and the graph and everything. And I texted. All I said was, "We got 20," and everybody's like, "Who got 20?"
And I did forget to mention that in this episode is congrats to Xtreme John Boats. I mean, what they done y'all included, as well as all the other teams, the other 3 teams that participated in the event. You know, it was amazing work that y'all done working together as a team, because this event's not only as individuals, it's also as a club. So congratulations, y'all being Xtreme John Boat Anglers Club Champions of the Year for 2020. So coming back and defending it, maybe we can see a repeat for Xtreme. Unfortunately, one of y'all, if y'all wind up one or the other, y'all both can't be state champions next year.
Yeah. I already told him he could have second. I'm cool with that. But Patricia and I are going to win it again next year. Well, that's the plan, at least.
Well, I hate to do this to you, Taylor, but Dusty, I hope you knock the brakes off of them next year.
I have, and it might happen again.
And hey, if that's the case, Taylor, we are going to make sure we're going to have the biggest and the most comfortable net you have ever seen. Ain't that right, Dusty?
He's fishing with Patricia. Yeah. I guarantee you he'll be netting next year.
Yeah, I'll be with Patricia next year, so I guarantee I'll be netting a lot of the fish. Yeah.
So that is pretty much a wrap. Again, Dusty, Taylor, congratulations. No joke. We've had fun tonight, but all joking aside, congratulations on becoming the 2020 Georgia Bass-TEC state champions. Nobody's ever going to take that away from y'all.
No, it's been unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, awesome experience. You know, going into it, we want, you know, everybody wants to do good, and you joke around like, we're going to go win it, but when it really happens, I mean, it's awesome experience.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at each other that morning. We looked around all the boats, and to think of all the anglers that were there. I mean, you're talking about the top 20 or the top 56 guys in the state. And me, you know, like he's like, man, you sound cocky sometimes, but I don't mean it no kind of way, really. At the end of the day, like I was telling somebody else earlier this week, like I don't do this for fun. Like I think I might even told you, it's not fun for me. It's not to go have a good time. Like the only reason I show up to any tournament is to win it. And that does come across, you know, like, oh, that guy's cocky, but that's not it. I mean, if I wasn't doing it for that, then what am I doing it for? So that's what I told him. You know, I said, look, we've done the homework. If the fish are there, we're going to catch them. And I said we needed 22 and a half to win. Had 21 and won it, but that's because we thought, you know, there was going to be a bigger bag to be weighed in. But stick with it. You got to be confident.
But I would add this. I do believe you had some fun out there Saturday at the state championship.
Man, nervous wreck. I don't know. I think I had a protein bar, a Red Bull, and like one bottle of water. By the time I got off the water, I was exhausted. Yeah.
That is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude the show. Thank y'all, men, for taking time out of your night. Thank our fans for tuning in and logging on here and watching us tonight. So, Dusty, Taylor, maybe we'll be seeing y'all back. It ain't going to be long. We'll be starting up January 2021 with interviews. So, y'all be right back.
Chris at the TEC, I said, you know, this really ain't fair. I said, y'all had a half reigns as TEC, you know, champions. We get 6 months.
Yeah. Chris and his partner definitely got a long, pulled that out a lot longer. But man, he was. I believe he congratulated us and slapped us on the back, and I can't even count how many times he just kept coming back. You know, and you know, all the guys, you included, everybody that helped out, man, just was outstanding people. Congratulated us more than we could ever imagine, and like I said, I probably apologize because all of it's just a blur. But you know, I felt like I was shaking hands and kissing babies. You know, I don't know. I don't really know what happened, but yeah, unbelievable experience overall, and definitely plan on doing it again for sure.
That's awesome. Well, you get it. Y'all both get your shot back at it again, 2021. So appreciate y'all getting on tonight.
Appreciate you having us.
Thanks, man.
All right. So, folks, there you have it. That is the 2020 Georgia Bass-TEC State Champions. Y'all make sure, again, let me get back over here one last time to give a big shout-out to Decked Out John Boats. We appreciate all of the hard work that they have put in. all the filming that has been done, following along with the anglers, doing interviews, being out there during the event, covering the event, making sure to get those right angles. Decked Out John's working hard, been working hard, going to continue working hard, getting the video production together. And that way each and everybody can see firsthand the perspective that happened during the 2020 Georgia Bass-TEC. So if you hadn't, get over there, give them a like, follow them on Facebook, subscribe to their YouTube channel, and also get by and visit their website for the store that they have in there of all their swag gear, all the different products that they have to sell. Get over and check them out. Decked Out John Boats. Brett Cummins would love to see you. He'd be glad to answer any questions you got as well. So appreciate them men, all their hard work. That is it. We are done. Guess what? Here we are fixing to go into the holidays of Thanksgiving, and we ain't got but just 2 more months, folks, to 2021. We're going to be right back at it interviewing all these amazing anglers in the state of Georgia. And it's no longer TEC. It is E-Propulsion TEC. Y'all get ready. The new year's going to be coming in. Appreciate each and every one of you.